Hi, I am just here with Crystal Popoff today. I asked her to be with us. There's just some things that I really want to share, and she's a person that has really educated me, and I am just so thankful for that. So she agreed to be here with me. We're going to do a quick video. We're going to talk about gut health, and we are going to talk about CBD.
Awesome.
And it's two things that have really changed my life. I'm absolutely passionate about this for that reason. I had to be an advocate for my own health. I was on a search for healing from a bladder issue, very chronic pain, and just something that I was unable to manage without the help of medications that left me not myself, not an active person, but I was sleepy and groggy and distorted. And I just had to keep searching. And through the help of many, many doctors, I did find relief. But again, those ways of relief were pain. They were medicating me. They were knocking me out, making me tired and unable to function the way that I need to. And so in my search, I was able to find something that has freed me from those medications. And that is one of the many reasons I'm passionate about it. As I've learned more, I've been able to help my children, my grandchildren, watch many other people have answers to their long-awaited prayers. And so that's why I asked Crystal to be here. I thank you so much. And she's just going to tell you a little bit about her.
And here's what's crazy is I didn't know that story. I knew you were passionate about the product and what we educate on, but I get this every day, and it's actually how I dove into it. Is my husband, who was diagnosed at a very young age, early 20s, with ulcerative colitis, a gut issue. He went from one medication to the next, to the next, to the next, and they started talking about taking out his colon at such an early age, right? And so we dove into what's a natural remedy, how do I, and similar to you, I was blessed to find a gal named Tylene Loomer in California, who has been educating in natural gut health for 20 plus years. Her knowledge in her brain is unbelievable. She's a researcher. I'm an engineer by schooling, so I've always been a science nerd. When I dive into something, I dive into it. So what we'll talk to you about today is really getting back to nature. And most people would agree, today, it's very sad right now. We are the sickest generation this country has ever seen. We have the most people on prescription drugs than ever before. The worst statistic as a mom of two is that we have most kids under the age of 18 on prescription drugs than we ever have before. And so I am not against Western medicine, man. I am grateful for it at times, but I think we're relying on it. And when you talk about health, whenever we do a natural health talk, we always start with the gut. Because one thing we do every day is we eat. And we also will probably all agree that our food today isn't the best. We eat a lot of processed foods. A couple hundred years ago, people had their own gardens. They traded with the people raising cows down the street. It was real organic, right? And then after World War II, we started canning our food, mass productions of farms where the soils are depleted. And so a lot of things have changed with our food. I remember growing up on TV dinners. Did you ever have TV dinners?
No, my mom wouldn't let me have those.
Oh man, we just pop them in the microwave and they were done in 10 minutes, right? And now that I look at that, I think the nutritional value, that has to be very little. So most people's diets are processed and cooked foods. Now there's something very different between living food and processed, or even if you eat healthy, cooked food. Something that living food has in it that's not in cooked or processed food is something called enzymes. So enzymes aid in the breakdown of food. So if you think about anything fresh and living, like an apple or a banana, when you bite into an apple, you know how it turns brown on the outside? That's the enzymes starting to break down that apple. So you pick carrots out of the ground, you eat carrots, those fresh and living things will help your body break it down. Now, as soon as we cook this stuff, so you cook your carrots over 116 degrees, now we're relying on the enzymes that are in our pancreas to actually break down that food. And we all are born with a different amount of enzymes in our pancreas. And it's a different types of enzymes in our pancreas, right? You need enzymes to break down milk sugars, right? Have you ever heard of someone being lactose intolerant?
Absolutely.
Lactose intolerant just means that they no longer have the enzyme lactase in their pancreas to break down those milk sugars. And it's not only happening with milk. People are losing the ability to break down fats to a complete fatty acid, and proteins into a complete amino acid, and carbs and sugars into a simple glucose. These things have to be broken down. If they're not fully broken down, they can't be used by the body, and they never get past as well as they could, right? So they remain in the body. For example, fats not broken down into a fatty acid remains a fat molecule. You ever heard of leaky gut, where fat gets out of the gut and around the liver and really collects? I hear people all the time say, man, things just changed when I hit 30, when I hit 40, right? I just started gaining this weight. I don't know why. It could be them not breaking down fats anymore. So people with proteins, not breaking down proteins into an amino acid, collect uric acid in the blood. Uric acid causes all sorts of things, right?
Yes. Havoc on our body.
Havoc on our body. Uric acid, right? Fat knuckles. You ever seen anyone with fat knuckles, or what we call arthritis or gout? That's all uric acid, unbroken down protein now in the blood. So how do we fix this? Number one, my first tip is always food and diet, right? Add more raw, fresh and living into your food. Absolutely. If you're eating eggs in the morning, add some avocado slices, add some tomato slices in with that, right? Fresh squeezed orange juice. Pasteurized orange juice, dead, no enzymes. Fresh squeezed orange juice, enzymes. You can add that in. That's a free tip. That's something you can just change. What we do know though, Cindy, is most people won't change their diet. So another very simple solution that we have fallen in love with and has helped my husband tremendously, helped my kids, is something called a plant-based enzyme. So similar to enzymes in our pancreas that break down these foods, you can also get a dehydrated plant-based enzyme that break down these different food groups. Have you ever eaten fresh pineapple and papaya? Pineapple and papaya and kiwi actually have high proteolytic enzyme count. So they will, if you eat those with a chicken breast, it will actually help aid in the breakdown of that chicken breast, right? So I'm going to do a little sample for you that'll make all this make sense. And if you'll grab a glass for me, this is pudding. Now I use pudding just because it's got a lot of different stuff in it. It's easy to carry around, but it's got dairy. Actually, it's dairy in this. It's got sugar, fats, carbs, proteins. So it's pretty much got everything in a kind of a meal processed in this. So this is a plant-based, full spectrum, very important. Not all enzymes are created equal. Plant-based enzyme. I'm gonna, if you'll hold this for me, I'm gonna open this up and pour it in here. Now, if you've ever eaten snack pack pudding, you know that it's gooey and it doesn't change consistency, right? So you can stir it all day long and it's still gooey, right? Makes me sad that they feed this to
I fed
elderly.
that to my children in their lunches.
Yes.
Before I was educated.
Yes. I mean, everyone's had a snack
I thought
pack.
I was the cool mom.
Yes.
No.
And they feed it to elderly because they think it's already broken down, but it's not. So something I'm going to show you really quickly here is that this enzyme, I'm going to stir that around. Okay, so it's now stirred in here. It's still gooey, but we're going to let it sit here for a couple minutes. Now you can open this capsule up, and if you ever experience some acid reflux or some heartburn, you can actually open it up and pour it in your mouth. Take it with a little bit of water. It's all plant-based, all vegan. So it tastes to me like a salad. And an antacid actually does, it'll stop the symptom of heartburn, but it doesn't fix the problem. And I think that is what bothers me about Western medicine the most, is we're treating symptoms, right? When if you start feeling some heartburn, that should be your indication that the microbiome of your gut is not healthy, right? And so instead of actually treating the gut, adding a little probiotic or prebiotic in it, which by the way, this capsule has plant-based enzymes, full spectrum, so it'll break down all the food groups, but it also has a little probiotic and prebiotic in as well, stabilize. So it activates once it gets in the gut. So it's really a full gut health capsule. You take it right before you eat, and it will help break down that meal. Now, anyone who wants to clean the body of those fats or that uric acid can actually take it on an empty stomach. It becomes therapeutic. This is how I got my mom's cholesterol down 40 points in 6 months. And this is how your friend Lori Cooper got her cholesterol under control, is by taking enzymes on an empty stomach. A natural way. Got to research plant enzymes. So I'll show you, if you want to hold that up. In just a few minutes, we've actually started to liquefy this pudding. So it will turn completely liquid here. It's already starting to. This is going to break down your food. It's not this is not a laxative, I'll tell you that, but it will help you become regular, which is good. It's really good. We eat 3 times a day. We really should be pooping, right? Or that food's staying inside of you and wreaking havoc and spoiling. So it's very important to be regular. What did you notice when you first started taking this?
Well, when I first started taking, I was told that I had leaky gut and that I needed to avoid all kinds of foods. And I'm a pretty clean eater, but I really did not want to avoid all of those foods.
Yeah.
And so I started taking the enzymes, and what I noticed is it helped my bladder issue. I had taken way too many antibiotics, trying to fix a problem that wasn't even really diagnosed as
Yeah.
a problem. I
Mhm.
was trying to kill an infection that I didn't have.
Yeah.
And so the enzymes really helped me repair my leaky gut.
Yeah.
And it did take about 3 months for me to notice a
Consistently.
big difference.
Great.
But it was a huge difference.
Great. Yeah, we've helped a lot of people with gluten issues, gluten food aversions, I'll say, whether it's gluten or whether it's dairy or whether it's, something they don't even know. People that eat spaghetti and they don't feel good after spaghetti, they're not fully breaking down that spaghetti,
Right.
So we've helped a ton of people. So definitely this is my go-to for anyone who wants to not only heal some gut issues, but for me, I just want to make sure that I can live my whole life without hitting a point where I no longer can eat what I want to eat.
Yes.
So I take it as to conserve my pancreatic enzymes.
Yes.
Yeah.
My daughter uses it for her son who's had severe allergies.
Oh,
And
great.
he's just 4 years old, but he's able to have dairy now. He's able to have gluten, and he
Yeah.
could not have those things.
Yeah, quality of life
So,
is back.
Absolutely.
Amazing.
Yes.
Well, we want it to be quick, so we are going to switch gears here and let's talk about CBD. CBD is a big buzz.
Yes.
CBD is short for cannabidiol. Cannabidiol, or CBD, is one cannabinoid that's located in a plant we call the cannabis plant. And CBD has kind of took the medical world by surprise in that this plant just started healing people, and people with epilepsy all of a sudden stop having seizures. People that maybe had really bad PTSD or anxiety couldn't function in public without this plant, but they didn't know why initially. They just knew the plant would help them. And so as we started in America, started researching and diving into this plant, we were shut down. Government shut down all research of the plants. So we really owe Israel for picking up and kind of running with this. And they discovered that when we consume this plant, that we have these receptors in our body, all down the back of the neck, throughout the body, and these receptors would basically turn on or connect once these cannabinoids would enter the receptors. So they found this receptor system. They named it the endocannabinoid system. They named it after the plant. And what we realized is most of us, just like we're deficient in most vitamins and minerals out there, our bodies are very deficient in cannabinoids. And so our endocannabinoid system isn't functioning well. And there's really two main functions of the endocannabinoid system. The first function is it is kind of the motherboard or the link, the communication link between the other systems. So the endocrine system, how many people do you know have thyroid issues out there, right? The hormonal system, right? So one of the first things that people notice balance out when they start taking this plant is that their hormonal system starts balancing out, right? The immune system, how many autoimmune disorders do we have out there? So they use this plant to treat a lot of those issues, because when your endocannabinoid system is filled and healthy, it can help balance those other systems and bring your body into what's called homeostasis. The second function of the endocannabinoid system is actually to protect your body from feeling pain. So people with maybe chronic back pain for a while, they'll notice that instead of an opioid, they can use this natural plant. It's a beautiful, beautiful plant. It helps many different people in many different functions. Some people that are lacking energy, it'll actually give them focus and energy. Some people that are not sleeping at all, it'll allow them to sleep. So it just basically balances the body. Everybody feels it different. But one thing that the research has shown is that we need it. We need our endocannabinoid system to be really healthy in order for this body to be healthy and operate at a full level. So let's talk about our favorite Pure product. It's from a line called Brizo Pure. And CBD, it's taken off so much that there's a lot of people capitalizing on the income from it with a very low quality product.
Right.
And the cleanest extraction that we've known is something called a CO2 extraction, where they pull the plant, they pull basically cannabidiol, just CBD isolates out of the plant, and they put it into an oil mixture, a CBD oil at a certain concentrate, certain milligrams per oil, right?
Yes.
But we are all about nature. So we believe if you're going to use the plant as plant medicine, use the plant, use the entire plant, right? And we have something called a CBD fluid. It's the plant in fluid form. There is nothing added in it. You taste this, it tastes like the plant, right? Now, the good thing about our plant that we use is there's no psychoactive effect, right? This is all about getting healed, not high. We won't judge those that use it recreationally, but that's not what we're about. We're about really truly using this for the medicinal benefits, so this will not have that high effect that people are scared of, right? And it's pure. So it's very cost effective. In fact, let us show you really quick. This is we won't even show the name. This is a traditional CBD oil. One dose, if you want to hold up one of these glasses here, one dose of this oil, and this is a pretty big jar, probably not an expensive oil, but one dose is 15 drops. So it's almost a half a dropper, okay? So you're using quite a bit for one dose. Now, if you'll see this, I hope you guys can see this, that oil mixture is sitting on top in bubbles. It's not mixing in with the water. Now, the reason we show you this is our bodies are mostly water. So this oil just sitting on top, pooling on top here, is not actually compatible with water, which is what our bodies mostly are. So what they recommend you do is take a lot of drops, okay? Put it under your tongue, hold it for a long time, hoping the enzyme amylase will break down some of that oil so you can absorb maybe 10% of this. Let me show you our fluid. This is why we're passionate about this. One dose, by the way, if you want to hold it up, make sure they can see it. One dose is 2 drops. You're going to see right away this milky substance that goes down. That's the plant. Go ahead and swirl it around a little bit. It's going to start mixing in with this water. You see it down here? Just a milky. And as I mix this around, it'll totally disseminate in the water here. Totally water compatible. The absorption rate is through the roof on this. 2 drops on the tongue. You don't have to hold it there. Your body's used to absorbing fluid. This is fluid. It's one of the most cost-effective natural cannabis products out there. Natural CBD, helping thousands and thousands of people, around the world. So let's end this. What's a testimony that you've heard either from someone else or you have from this CBD fluid?
Well, one of the most fascinating testimonies that I actually witnessed was my cousin, and she had been experiencing brain fog for quite some time. And she came to an informational health talk about this where they gave a sample, and she did not even know that it could help with brain fog. But they put a little drop on her hand, and she licked it, and then she got a glass of water and took a drink, and she said within minutes, it just cleared that brain fog.
Wow.
So the next time I saw her, she told me about it. She didn't even tell me about it on that day. And the next time I saw her, she told me what had happened. And I said, well, let's try it again. So we did, and it did the same thing. And that was just so fun and rewarding for me. There's been so many other testimonies. I've used it for pain. I've used it on a burn. It
topically works really well.
Takes away the sting of a burn, healing of a wound. In the ears of grandchildren with ear infections. Just so many different ways. But I have been told that it's been scientifically shown that it can even kill cancer cells.
Yeah, there's a lot of studies out there. We have to be careful when we say that C word, but there are incredible studies out there on projectcbd.org on that. I mean, I take it as a preventative for that very reason, right? It's a disease that's taking out our population day by day, So this plan has been, it's really a miracle plan for many people. So thanks for tuning in. Thank you, Cindy, for having me.
Thank you so much,
of course.
Crystal.
And reach out to us if you have any questions. Cindy knows a lot about this. She probably doesn't need me here, but I'm honored to be here and talk to you all.
Thank you.
Thanks.